Okay guys, this is gonna be a little update video. Let me get you in the cupboard. So, you know, if you watch my videos, you know that back in December I started having this weird issue. Look at all these snacks I need to get put away. And the popcorn that Amanda said, I still haven't done a taste test for it. Like, we're going to. The kids keep wanting to eat it. I'm like, no, we have to save it for a taste test. Soon. I promise, soon. Anyways, in December I started having this weird smelling issue where like I would smell, it smelled like a mixture of like somebody just blew out a candle mixed with like paint fumes mixed with like hot melting plastic. Like I would go around smelling lights, smelling outlets, smelling everything, like constantly like checking for candles burning, checking warmers, like the warmers haven't been on, the candles hadn't been lit for like days. It's like I would ask everybody, like, do you smell that smell? Like, come in here, do you smell that smell? And like there were a couple times, a handful of times that whoever I asked did smell like a certain smell, but not like exactly what I was smelling. Anyway, I got to the point where I called the fire department because I was like, what the hell? Like, I'm afraid I'm gonna go to sleep and like there's either something's gonna catch on fire or something. Like my landlord came over, we checked the furnace for like burnt wires or anything. Like I was literally going insane. And finally, after the fire department came and like everything came out fine, checked out fine, they didn't smell anything. They checked with their gauges, nothing was showing up. Like everything, the air in here was perfectly normal. And it's okay. I'm smelling it in my car. I smell it when I'm not even at home. Like, is it just me or is it like in my head? Like, okay, you think you're smelling it, but you're really not. Like, and then my mom had come over and she has like the most sensitive nose ever. Like she doesn't burn candles. She can only use like certain soaps, lotions, all that kind of stuff because she's like super sensitive to smells and it'll give her a headache. And she didn't smell anything. It's like, okay, I have no other option. Like, I'm just going to go to urgent care and see what is going on because I'm losing my mind. Like, literally constantly walk around trying to find this smell. So I went to urgent care, and that doctor there said that he was pretty sure, that what I had was called olfactory hallucinations, which it's where like people that hallucinate, to them they're seeing something that's really real. Well, to me, what I'm smelling, to me it's really a smell, but nobody else smells. It's not there. It's also referred to as phantom smells. So what I'm smelling is not really there. It's usually caused by it's caused when something is messing with that part of the brain that smells. I guess the olfactory nerves and something else are like kind of in between your eyes, like that part of your nose, like right back behind the top of your nose. But the main things that cause the olfactory hallucinations is I'm totally losing my train of thought. Nasal polyps or some type of tumor. So he was looking at my nose and he said he was pretty sure that he saw a nasal polyp in my left nostril. And he said I need to call the doctor first thing the next day. So the next day came, I called my doctor, but he told me, he said, don't try to find the smell. He's like, just know you're not going crazy and stop trying to find the smell because there isn't really a smell. He's like, although you think you smell it and you're really smelling something, it's not really there. Which then you're like, okay, now I really feel like I'm going crazy. Thanks for telling me to not feel like I'm going crazy because now it's even worse because you're telling me that I'm smelling something that's not there. So the next day I got up, I called the doctor, they scheduled me for an appointment. I had a virtual appointment. And, you know, told him what was going on. He said, you know, normally you don't see nasal polyps by just looking in somebody's nose with a little light. He said you normally have to find nasal polyps by doing some type of scan. So he was going to order a CT scan of the head and brain and a CT scan of the face. And he was putting in orders for me to see an ENT, ear, nose, and throat specialist. So within like a couple days, the ENT called. They set up my appointment. It was actually for January 13th, which was yesterday. And I never heard anything about and I asked him, I said, what about, I said, I'm supposed to get a CT scan. And she said, well, you'll get a call from the hospital to set that up. It's like, okay, so I never heard anything. So I kind of just assumed, okay, maybe they want me to see the ENT before they do anything else and let the ENT decide what to do. Well, then Monday, what is today? Today's the 14th. Monday was the 11th. So Monday, I opened the mail and I have 2 letters from my insurance company. One was a letter denying the CT scan of the head and brain, and the other was a letter denying the CT scan of the face. So like I was instantly like crushed, like what the hell? What do I do? There's something going on in there. Like how are we gonna find it? We're just gonna let it go? Like, so I was devastated. Well then, the next morning, Tuesday, I was on my way to, what is today? Tuesday on the way to pick up Allie from school, I looked down, I saw I had a missed call from my family doctor's office. So I called him back and they put me on hold and I talked to like our nurse, Amanda. And she's like, well, she said, I wanted to know, she said, this has been quite a process. There's been a runaround, like misunderstandings with the insurance company, she said. And then once the insurance company denied the CT scans, my doctor was like, no, there's something going on. She needs to have a scan. So we put in for an MRI, and it was actually approved Tuesday to get an MRI. I guess two, an MRI with contrast and an MRI without contrast of the head, brain, whatever. And that she said the soonest they could get me in is Thursday. So today at 7 p.m., I have to go to the hospital to go have an MRI done. I've never had an MRI, but everybody's told me what, you know, what it's like, what to do, like all that kind of stuff. So then yesterday I had my appointment with the ENT. So I was in there telling him what's been going on, you know, telling him things. And I told him how, like, the last few months, even before the smell, I have, like, vision issues. Like, I'll pick up something to read in, my eyes won't focus. So I kind of have to move it out and then back in, and then my eyes will focus. Or if I'm driving, sometimes, not all the time, it's not all the time that any of this happens. The smell is all the time. It did go away for a few days, and then it came back, like, full force. I think I'm to the point where I'm just getting used to the smell now, which once we figure out a way to get rid of it, it's going to be amazing to smell actual air. Like, it's not like I don't smell other things. I smell other things, but I constantly have this smell too. Like, if I burn a candle, I smell it. If I put perfume on, I'll smell it for like the first few minutes, and then I don't smell it anymore. I just smell like that burning smell again. So like sometimes I'll be driving, and it's like my vision's blurry, and I have to kind of do a couple like really hard squints, and then my vision will focus. But like that started like in October, November. So I'm like, I just ruled that to like stress, the holiday season, just, you know, stress and just tired, exhausted. So I was telling him that, and he was checking my eyes also. So like my ears looked fine. You know, he was feeling around. He said, you know, I also had this other condition. I forget, it's a really long word, but it's basically like a bulging of the eye. Like your eye is out of place, it's out of orbit. And, you know, the typical causes for that are either, number one, Graves' disease, which is hereditary. My mom has Graves' disease. Well, she had it, and now she's like no longer on medication. Like her thyroid fixed itself. So I don't really know if she still has it. I don't know. But she had it for years. And the other thing, that main thing that causes it is, so if the eye is bulging bilaterally, it's usually caused by Graves' disease, which is an issue with your thyroid. If it is a unilateral bulge, it's usually caused by a tumor. It's like, okay, great. The smell thing is typically caused by a tumor. The eye bulge is typically caused by a tumor, but that could be caused by Graves' disease, but Graves' disease wouldn't cause the smell issue. So it's like, okay. So he sent me down, so I told him, I read on Google, I said it's weird, because I read on Google, kept clicking on these links when I was trying to figure out what was going on, and there was something about it being a thyroid issue, and he said that not the smell, the eye thing. He said the eye thing could be because of your thyroid. He said that so I'm going to have you go down and do blood work for your thyroid, what is it, the T3 and then the TSH with reflex. I don't know, I guess those are the two thyroid tests. So I went downstairs, got blood taken, you know, came home. And then I was like, he put 3 different things on my sheet. The one long word, which he didn't really explain what it was in full detail. I looked up when I got home, which is the eye bulge, where your eye is out of orbit. So it's kind of like something's pushing on your eye. Usually it's something with the tissue. If it's Graves' disease, it's something with the tissue there's extra tissue, so it's kind of pushing on your eye and causing your eye to be out of orbit. He didn't say if it's both eyes or just one eye. But he did say that he wanted me to find a selfie from 2 years ago, one from 1 year ago, one from 6 months ago, and then take one current, just like a full straight-on selfie, so he can compare my eyes. So I guess, and he wants me to send them through my chart, or else call the office and they'll tell me, or call the office and they'll tell me how to send them directly to him, so he has pictures of my eyes, so he can try and see, okay, when did this start? When did we start seeing things? And like he said, a lot of times there are serious conditions that don't have any signs or symptoms. Like a lot of times people will have cancer and not even know it till it's like so far on, like stage 4, you know, because they didn't have any signs or symptoms. A lot of times things are found, or people find that they have issues by accident. Like my grandpa, when he found out he had cancer, he wasn't in there for that. I think he had pneumonia or something, and they did an x-ray, and that's how they found he had lung cancer. Like my aunt, she went in for an MRI of her back because she thought she pulled something in her back and had a disc out in her back, and turns out she had cancer like all throughout her spine. So like some things fine by accident because they're checking on something else. Other things, like he said, you know, by the time they start showing symptoms, you're so far along, it's like that whatever you have is really present of what it is. He said other times there are, you have symptoms right away. He said, so I could be, if I do have a tumor or whatever, I'm going to try not cry in this video because I'm just terrified. If I do by some chance have a tumor, then like the eye issues, like if he can trace back, like, okay, a year ago is when I started noticing something with your eye, so this probably started forming like a year ago, or 2 years ago, or whenever the pictures notice, or and maybe it's just grown to the point to where it's big enough to cause an issue with your eyes and an issue with the smell. It's big enough to put pressure on that part of the brain. I mean, it makes sense. I'm trying to not think that way, but it makes sense. So then I was like, sorry. So then, like when I got home, I was like, okay, like my mom has Graves' disease, so I was looking up Graves' disease, and like symptoms of that are extreme tiredness, irritability, which I have that lately just because life's just crazy. But okay, maybe it's from that. And like another sign of Graves' disease is frequent bowel movements. I'm like, not to be gross, but like I use the bathroom multiple times a day. Some people go like once every couple of days. I go multiple times a day. Like that's just normal for me. Like, okay, so maybe it's that. And also a sign of Graves' disease is it says like a thick red patch of skin on the tops of feet or on shins. It's like last year in the summer, I noticed like on the tops of both of my feet, kind of off to the side, I have a patch like this big. It's almost like when you get like calluses on your elbow or like on your knees, that dry skin, you can kind of loofah it off or like put a thick cream on it for a couple of days and it goes away. It doesn't matter what I do, those spots, I cannot get those spots on the tops of my feet to go away. Like I've tried oil, like oil after oil after oil, and nothing seemed to go. Pumice stones, like nothing will get it to go away. So I'm like, okay, great. I'm like, this is kind of a good thing. Like maybe it is Graves' disease because I have multiple symptoms of it. My mom had it. It's hereditary. I guess it's more common in women in like around your 40s or something. It's like, okay, I'm 42. So that's kind of exciting. Like, okay, maybe it is just Graves' disease, which is, my mom just had to take a pill every day, and then it got to where her thyroid worked itself out. So it's kind of like, okay, that would be a good thing. Like a lot, the issue with my eyes and stuff is just that, and maybe I do have a nasal polyp in my nose, and that's what's causing the smell. And then I got my thyroid test results back yesterday. My thyroid's perfectly fine. So, yeah, and then, so I saw those results last night that my thyroid's like perfectly normal, and then the doctor's office called me this morning and said, you know, we're calling to let you know your thyroid's perfectly normal. I said, so does that rule out Graves' disease? And she said, yeah. She said, because if you had Graves' disease, especially to the point of when I had it, my blood work would have shown it. So Graves' disease is ruled out. So basically we're down to just there being some type of tumor that's pressing on that part of the brain, and that's pressing on like the eyes, cause them to be out of orbit or whatever they call it. So I didn't sleep very well last night. Like the thought of having to do chemo or radiation or have like brain surgery done to remove it is terrifying, but I'm trying to not think about it. I'm trying to stay busy, but and you try to not go to that place, but especially when they just called and said it rules out Graves' disease, it's like, okay, that's, I don't know. And the doctor looked at my nose and he said, you know, your family doctor was right. You can't really see nasal polyps by just looking with a light. You have to do like a scan of the face or whatever. And he said he gets a lot of people sent in there with them being told or the thoughts that they have nasal polyps, when actually whatever their doctor saw was just the, I forget what it's called. It's like these layers of stuff up in your nose, and they're kind of like ridges, and the nasal polyps actually get between the ridges, and people see the ridge things like doctors do, and they assume that it's polyps and send them to the ENT. He said he gets that all the time. So I need to send him my pictures today. I had to get on my old phone because I just got this phone a year ago, so I had to get on my old phone and screenshot a bunch of pictures. So I got to send them to my new phone so I can get them to the doctor. I was just gonna say something else. The ENT that I saw was absolutely amazing. He said, because he said I would hear from him Friday. I said, well, I asked him, I said, so the MRI, I said, are we looking for like nasal polyps or like a tumor? And he said, we're looking for anything whatsoever that is putting pressure on that part of the brain and that area, or anything in there abnormal that's blocking vessels. So yeah, I don't know, he told me, and then he told me, he said, you'll hear from me Friday. I said, well, my MRI is not till Thursday night at 7 p.m. I said, will you even have the results by Friday? He said, no, I won't. He said, I'm going to go in and get them myself. So he said, if I don't hear from him personally by noon on Friday, like, I just met this guy yesterday at my appointment. He was really nice. He said, if I don't hear from him personally by noon on Friday, to call his office and have them remind him to go pull my MRI results. So I guess tomorrow, roughly this time or a couple hours from now, tomorrow, I should know something. Like when I talked to the doctor, I'm like, when she said it rules out Graves' disease, I'm like, all right. I'm like, well, I don't know if that's good or bad, but thank you. And she's like, right. So yeah, my MRI is tonight at 7. I have to be there at 6:30. So I think I'm gonna take the kids to my mom's. And Jay said he could pick them up after his what is it called? He's in the church band, but it's not called that. Worship band, is that what it's called? I don't know. I can't even think. So yeah, so I'm just gonna try and stay busy today. I need to go to the grocery, but I might do that after I leave the hospital tonight. They're doing 2 MRIs, one without contrast and one with contrast. So if they're running on time, I should be out of there by 8, I'm assuming. Well, I have no idea really. I think everybody said that usually an MRI takes like 20 minutes, but I have to do it twice. I just have to remember to take off my necklace and take my earring out. So yeah, now we're just down to whatever's causing it. Like, is it a tumor? It's crazy to think that all of this is coming from, I just smelled a strange smell. And I've had people comment on my videos that they've had this smell. And the truth is, like, some people have this smell thing. Some people have it in one nostril, some have it in both. Some of people, it comes and goes. Other people, it's constant. Some people will smell like a sweet smell, like oranges. So if you have that, if you have like if you're smelling a strange smell like often, please go get checked out, because it's not normal. It's a sign of something that could be seriously wrong, and by the time it gets to a point where you're smelling it all the time, it could be too late to be able to have an easy fix, you know. So crossing my fingers. And I asked him, or he told me, he said, even if the MRI shows nothing, he said, we're not stopping there because there's something wrong. So so this video, I'm going to post it now. Today it's 10:01. Today is the 14th of January. So after this is going to be some videos, because I'm behind a couple videos just because I've just been overwhelmed with so many things. But this is going to be a real-time video. It's just so you know. January 14th, 10:01 a.m. Today's the day of my MRI. So I'm going to go ahead and upload this now. So so you guys know what's going on. I don't know. I need to go through all that. I need to go through all this. I have so much to do. Like yesterday, after I left there, I didn't do anything all day. I didn't. I just kind of sat around and tried to just get lost in other YouTube videos or playing with kids or doing other things. I just didn't want to think about anything. But that's damn near impossible. But yeah, that's my little update. Yeah. We have to wait and find out. Is it a tumor? At this point, I've Googled so many things, and like there's just, I don't know what else it could be, because anything that might be a slight possibility, they pretty much keep ruling out. So cross your fingers for me, guys. And for those who get offended and get all upset when I shed tears on a video, I'm sorry, but if you didn't feel emotion going through what I'm going through, then you have a serious issue. So, and for all of you that continue to send me your love and support and well wishes, even on Facebook, my friends on Facebook that are subscribers that already know what's going on, even your little heart that you click, like reacting to my post, means more than you'll ever know. Because yeah, all right, I'm gonna go play with Jackson. And oh my gosh, it's 10:03. I have to leave to go get Alex already in a half hour. Where is this day going? The kids don't have school tomorrow and they don't have school Monday. So I get like a 4-day break in there. I need to go to the grocery. I have to do the MRI. I've got a few things I need to do. I have another appointment on Tuesday. Look at the sorry, my calendar's over there. Yeah, so that's what's going on with me. Yes, it could be worse, but it sure as heck could be better. Right now, it's just a scary situation, not knowing what it is, and the thought of either brain surgery, chemo, or radiation when I'm a single mom of 3 little kids. Like, how would I even go through that and still be able to get my kids to school and be a mom? Like I've said before, I don't care a lot of things that happen, but my biggest fear in life is that something happens to me where I can't be here for my kids. So, yeah, it's all just kind of scary right now. It's like, if it is a tumor, if they do find a tumor on the MRI, like how do they biopsy it, like to see if it's cancerous? Do they have to go in and remove it? Like, if it's not cancerous, I mean, I guess I'd still have to have it removed, even if it's not cancerous, because it's causing issues. I don't know, but I read that more tumors are usually benign, so we'll find out tomorrow. All right, I'm gonna stop rambling. And yeah, I love you guys. Bye.